back, everybody. Today we're going to be going over how to clean and lubricate your FNS type pistol. This one here is the compact version, but it's going to be the exact same process for the full size, which you guys have seen here on the channel in the past as well. We're going to take this video, take it from the standpoint that the person watching this doesn't know anything about firearms. They just picked up a new FNS, good choice by the way, solid pistol, and want to know how to properly maintain it after headed to the range. So, or even before you head to the range. I do recommend you clean and lubricate before you head to the range. But what we're going to do now is just get into the details, show you what we're using, how to do it, and that should pretty much do it. Before getting into the actual process, we're going to show you what we're using here first. We have some cut up t-shirt patches here. If you guys want to use actual gun patches, caliber specific and all that jazz, feel free to. They work fine. I also find that t-shirts work fine as long as they're cotton or some sort of cotton blend. They all work. We have Tipton polymer cleaning rods, which you guys are going to see here in a little bit. A lot of folks like to use dental picks, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. The problem is if they're metal and they're hard metal, they can actually scratch up the finish on your gun. So I tend to default to polymer, and these ones are like, they come in like a 4-pack, I think, and they're like $5 shipped on Amazon, so pretty cheap there. I do like them. We have our gun pistol rod, or pistol rod, if you will, to push through the barrel, which the FNS does come with, both the compact and the full-size. Toothbrush, high-speed Equate brand, and then we have some CLP. These are repurposed bottles. This one here is a Brownells oiler bottle. These are discontinued though, so now they actually make some, and I'll put a link below for you guys to check out. They're relatively cheap. They're like $2 or something like that. That are a little bit different, but they work just fine. And then we have, I think this is like my wife's body spray or something like that, that she finished, and I just put CLP in there. But they're the same product. They're break-free CLP, cleaner lubricant protectant. CLP works fine. Break-free is a good brand. There's many brands out there. So what it does is it cleans, lubricates, it protects, hence the name. If you guys want to use solvents and specific lubricants, that's fine as well. They're really not needed on most pistols unless you're shooting extremely high volume. Excuse me. Which in that case, you're probably not watching this video. So that's enough of that. On with the cleaning. So we're going to first take out our magazine here. Hit our mag release and release it. We're going to lock back by pressing up here on the slide lock and inspect our pistol. Make sure it's empty, no magazine. That is the case. At this point, we can rotate our lever and send the slide home. On most guns, you will need to pull the trigger to get it off in my experience. I know they say you don't. I don't know. A lot of them they do. So that is that. Take out our guide rod and take out our barrel. It says up here for our convenience. FN, man, they crack me up. All right, so we're gonna take out our barrel. That is our field strip pistol. The first thing I like to do is just take a little CLP and put it on one of our patches, and we're gonna run that through the barrel. So the reason I do this first is because as you're doing the rest of the cleaning here, that CLP will continue to work and break down the carbon that's in the barrel. So we do that first. At least that's what I do first. After that, we're going to get into the rest of the cleaning. So we'll tackle the slide here first. So what we're going to do is with the slide facing down, we're going to spray right back here and then right up here just a little bit. You really don't need a whole lot there. I'm going to set those off to the side. We're going to do the same here in our barrel. It doesn't really matter where you spray because we're going to work that around with our fingers and just kind of work it all around. And again, the beauty of the CLP is while it's on there, it's working and breaking down carbon. Do the same here on our guide rod and recoil spring. Now here on the frame, we're going to put a squirt here, a little squirt back here as well. And at this point, what we're going to do is take our toothbrush and just kind of work all that around. So work up here on our locking block. You can see it's pretty dirty up there. Work down in here near our dust cover as well. Here in our trigger mechanism, and back here as well in our trigger mechanism. And you just want to get that CLP around, make sure it's breaking down the carbon. Set that off to the side. We're going to do the same here to our barrel. Sometimes in our lugs here it can be pretty dirty. Also on our feed ramp, which of course I just actually wiped down 2 seconds ago. So set the barrel off to the side. Get in our guide rod here real quick. This one's not all that picky about being clean. Your guide rod can be pretty dirty before it's ever an issue. Then we're going to brush around here in the slide. Now the reason I have this facing down is just to not get a whole bunch of oil on the striker. Now on the FNS and the striker tends to be a little bit exposed, so it's kind of hard not to. The beauty of that though is that if you do get oil in there, it does have a place to actually run out, unlike some striker fired guns. So we're going to work up in there on our breech face, make sure to keep it down again so that way we don't get a bunch of oil there in the firing pin or striker. Just kind of work all that CLP around, and we're on to the next step. At this point, we're going to take a patch there. We're going to use the one that we just used for the barrel, and I'm just going to use the opposite side, try to repurpose it a little bit, and get in there with your finger and try to get as much of that CLP that we just had off of there. What you're actually doing is pulling the carbon off too with it, so it's kind of a 2-for-1 there. Once you get as much as you can, we're going to take our pick there and just kind of push this down in the rails, get in there. You can see just how dirty those are. So that's a spot that like carbon likes to accumulate. Just kind of work it in there and anywhere that we couldn't get to with our finger. Now you're never going to get all of it off. There's always going to be a thin coat of oil in there, which is one of the beauties of using CLP. It just leaves behind a thin coat of oil, which is great. Continues to break down carbon after we reassemble it and provide lubrication. So all of that is good. You can get in there, but don't force anything where there's a spring. Just kind of wipe it out as much as you can in that spring area back there. Now, one point we want to focus on is our extractor, which is this piece right here. It's also right here. So it grabs onto the case. You want to make sure that we get underneath there and kind of get all that we can out of there, because that area does tend to collect carbon a good bit. And we're going to set that off to the side. Next, we're going to grab our barrel. You just go over the outside of it there, wiping up all the carbon that we can. Right here on this little lug, tends to be a good bit of carbon. And then back here on the barrel lugs right here. Take that and just kind of work it through all the way around. One beauty of the finish here on this pistol is that it does wipe out very easily. A lot easier than a lot of other ones, I guarantee you that. So that CLP on the inside has been working its magic the whole time. We're going to push that through. See what we can get out of there. Actually, miraculously, not too dirty after we push the first one through. So we're going to do that a couple times until it comes out as clean as makes you happy. And then we're going to move on to the frame. Here on the frame, we're going to do the same thing and just kind of wipe up what we can here with our fingers first. One thing I like to do is get in that mag wall. There needs to be, or I shouldn't say there needs to be. You don't want any excessive lubricant, or excess lubricant I should say, in your mag wall. It can be totally dry, and that is completely fine. So you don't want to have that nice and oily or anything like that. So anything that ran in there, either from operation of the pistol or while you were, working that CLP around earlier, you just want to get that out. Again, at this point, we're going to take our little polymer pick and just kind of work it around. One thing you can do is that takedown lever right there, rotate that around and make sure you get on both sides. Now we're going to work underneath our locking block here and the rails, because again, just like on the slide, the rails like to accumulate carbon. And then we're going to get down in this area right here on the trigger. One thing, whenever there's springs and levers and all that stuff around, you don't want to force anything, guys. Just whatever you can get to, that's enough. You don't want to start pushing and jamming and stuff like that, particularly, again, if there's springs around, you can really mess stuff up. So don't do that. Whatever you can get to, it's good enough. These pistols have, cleaning cycles and armors, inspection cycles and stuff like that. And if you get to like 5,000 or 10,000 rounds, I assure you, you'll know a lot more about this pistol than what you're going to see in this video. And you'll know how to take it down and all that stuff by that point. So just keep working all that around until we get all the carbon and CLP out of there. Now that we've got the pistol clean, we're going to get onto the lubrication. I like this little needle bottle here. Works well. You can start to see the wear happening around the barrel here. So what we're going to do is just kind of drop there, drop here, just kind of work it around. Again, you just want a thin coat there all the way around your barrel. Maybe a small drop right here and a small drop right there. So next on the slide, you can see the wear starting to happen right here where it's unlocking, which is right here as well. So we already have some lubrication there, and a little bit up front where you can see that wear as well. So I'm going to slide our barrel in, and then at this point we're going to grab our recoil spring, a little drop on each piece here. It's a 2-piece system, and we're going to put that back in there as well. There we go. Now you have kind of 2 options here. You can either oil right here on the frame or oil inside the rails. Either way is fine. I'm going to do it on the frame just for it's easier to see for you guys. So we're just going to put a drop right here on each of these surfaces, front and back. And really that's about it, guys. One thing that people sometimes will lube as well is kind of on these inner rails and right here. I would say that's optional. We're going to do it here for video purposes. So at this point, we're just going to lock the slide to the rear, press up here on our slide lock, rotate our lever, send it home, and you can just kind of run the action a few times to make sure all that oil kind of gets around and worked into the different portions of the pistol. Now we're going to test it, make sure it functions correctly. So we're going to pull the trigger, hold it to the rear, cycle the action, ensure it resets, and we're good to go at this point. What you can see is certain places will have excess lubricant kind of coming out of it. Just the nature of the beast, it will always happen. As you can see, we didn't put too much lubrication on there, but as you work it, that's just what happens. So we're just going to wipe it down. And if you had any sort of dirt, of course, on the outside of your pistol, you're just going to want to brush that off ahead of time. And whatever you didn't brush off at this point, you can get it while you're wiping it down. And that's pretty much it for the cleaning lubrication portion. Hopefully those of y'all that watched this video that clicked on it and didn't know how to do it, learned how to do it, saw how it's done. It's pretty simple and you're not intimidated anymore. We answered your questions. But if you guys have more questions that we didn't answer or additional questions or need clarification, by all means post below in the comment section. I'll do my best to get you those answers. If not, I'm sure one of my viewers will step up to the plate and answer them as well. But thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next video.